This is a true story. People have asked me where my characters have come from. And this is how they came about. Ever since I was very, very young, my family knew that there was something a little bit different with me.
Really?
Very different. As a kid, when I would watch cartoons, I would get very frustrated with the cartoons that I was watching. There were times that the storylines would seem to not go fast enough for me. There were a couple times where my mom would come in and I would actually be doing voiceovers for cartoons simply because of the fact that it was taking too long for the cartoon to get to where I wanted it to be, if that makes sense.
No, not really.
So what would end up happening is that in order to not feel frustrated, I would have to create kind of my own little imaginary characters that would be in the different cartoons.
Hello, Smurfette. My name is Laz Smurf. How are you today?
Oh, I am doing just fine, thank you.
Would you like to sing with me?
Oh, that would be great.
Then school came, and at a very early age, when you were required to read in school, I hated it. Absolutely hated it. And I couldn't focus for long enough. I'd start reading and I'd realize that I had read the same sentence 5 times. And it would drive me nuts, and it would make me frustrated, make me not want to read. And I discovered that if I would read in different voices in my head, it would make it so I could read easier. Made it so that I could actually follow what I was reading. Owen whacked the truck cab again. "Drive to the beach," he said. "Drive to Little Boar's Head and back." That ended up not working for me because after a while the voices would no longer... I keep on talking about the voices in my head. What kind of idiot do I sound like? My voices would get bored with the story that I was reading, and so I would make up the story in my head and continue to have these different characters reading a story that I was writing. Owen decided he had had enough of this crap, so then he went and found Luke Skywalker, and the two of them went in an X-Wing fighter and decided to shoot up the place. When I went to school, I graduated in 1991, and ADD wasn't even talked about. Back then. So when I was in junior high and elementary, nobody even talked about ADD. I don't even know if there was a diagnosis for it. It wasn't until 5 years ago that I discovered or was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. And to describe attention deficit disorder, it is literally like having 20 different TVs on in your head, and none of them are on the same channel, and you're trying to pay attention to every single one of them, but the problem is you can't focus on any one in particular TV for any length of time because you get bored and your mind goes to all the other different TVs. When I was 29, I was diagnosed with ADD, and they decided that it could all be fixed if they put me on medication. So they gave me Ritalin. I took it for 3 days. And it was working. I was able to focus somewhat, better.
But
It took basically the voices out of my head. One of my biggest character flaws, and one of the things that I like most about myself, I guess, is that if anything funny pops into my head, I normally don't run it through an internal censor before I let it come out. And when I was on Ritalin, the funny things wouldn't come through my head as often. Or if they did, I really didn't feel like letting them out. You guys ready to sing? I don't feel much like singing right now. Let's not. Not today. I just want to take a nap. Please. Okay, we can do it later. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be on Ritalin. So instead I have to focus. There are actually like mental exercises that I have to do when I feel myself kind of letting my mind wander. And often what I will do, however silly it may seem, is I will have other characters in my head or voices that will do some thinking for me. All of this is making me sound very psychotic. And I don't think I am. Because I know the voices aren't real. Nor do the voices tell me anything that I don't have them say. I write the script. The voices just read them. Anyway, that's where my characters come from. I'm very odd.